Where were you born?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Question number 2. Who was or is the most important person in your life growing up, and why?
Ronald Reagan. And not just because of his presidency, but because he was such an inspired man, and he inspired me. If a lot of you don't recall and probably weren't paying attention back then if you're my age, which is 36, but every time he spoke, he always talked about what a great country this is and how much hope there is for America. And, he was like a second father. And I can't express how much not only meant back then, but his legacy and spirit means to me today.
What is your favorite color?
What colors I like depends on what it is. So the color I would like on the car isn't the same color I would like on a dog. So I can't answer that one. If forced, I'd have to say none and all.
What was your favorite movie? That's number 4.
It's a Wonderful Life, just because it's got such a great message, and I don't get tired of it.
Number 5. Do you think that people have a soul?
Yes.
Number 6, do you believe in the possibility that God exists? Yes or no?
Yes.
Number 7, have you ever gone bungee jumping?
No. Nor do I plan to.
Number 8, if you could solve one and only one problem in the entire world, what would it be?
I wouldn't solve any problem. And that's because there's a learning process. And, lessons that come from that process that coincides with solving your own problems. And waving a magic wand or snapping a finger to fix something most likely will just aid in help creating that problem again at some future date. Probably not too distant in the future. So I wouldn't want to circumvent that process. It's kind of like, you give somebody's got, let's say $30,000 in debt. Somebody comes across them and say, hey, I'm going to get you out of debt. Here's 30,000 bucks. You're clean. That somebody's going to go right back into debt because they didn't have to work through it. And I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't want to circumvent that process of working through it, because that's what aids in that mistake not being made again somewhere down the road. So yeah, I'm not touching it unless it's something I actually help somebody work through. So that's the answer for that.
Number 9, do you believe that there might be aliens out there that have visited the Earth from time to time? Yes or no?
Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but I absolutely believe that there is other life in the universe, not to mention probably in our galaxy, aside from what resides here on Earth. Whether it's visited Earth or they have visited Earth or not, I don't know, but it's absolutely possible.
Did you have a pet growing up? Yes or no?
Yes.
Number 11. Is there any circumstance that would warrant the death penalty?
I think there are 4 circumstances that would warrant the death penalty. 1 being treason, 2 first and second degree murder, 3 brutal rape, and 4 child molestation.
Number 12. If you could have a super sentence, what would it be?
I'd have to go with sight.
Number 13. If someone offered you enough money for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life, how much would that be?
I'm not exactly sure I understand the premise of this question. I don't know if it's in exchange for something, or just how much do you think you would need to live comfortably? Because if it was in exchange for something, it would depend on what it was in exchange for. Would it be in exchange for loyalty to something, or like I said, I'm not exactly sure I understand the premise. But if all you mean is how much do you think you get, like if somebody gave you a flat check and never work again, what do you think you'd get away with living off of? I'd say with the proper investments, $250,000. You could easily, if you invested it properly, and let's say you were debt free at the time you got that money, you could easily, living frugal for the first 10 years, but investing that money, you could easily get away with that.
Number 14. How old do you think you'll be when you die?
Wow, this is kind of eerie, but I'll go with the law of averages on this one. Also basing it with that I have incredible genes, and that's no one in my family has cancer or gotten anything like that, or even heart disease. I'll go with 88.
Number 15. What time did you go to bed last night?
Disappointingly early for a Friday night, but that's because I was disappointed. I went to bed right after Hannity and Combs, and they had Chuck Norris sitting in for Sean Hannity. I like Chuck Norris a lot, but I felt bad for the guy because you can tell he's not used to that bang bang question answer atmosphere, and oh, it was just sad. And yeah, I went to bed right after that. I couldn't watch any more news.
Number 16. If I asked you what's the top 3 things that you like about yourself, what would those be?
Well, I'd have to say one is my genes, as in my G-E-N-E-S, my DNA. Was very, very fortunate. 2 would be my upbringing. I had 2 loving parents that were great. They weren't have any money at all when I was growing up, but they skimmed and saved to send me to a Catholic school, which wasn't cheap, just because they knew education was so important. And 3, I'd have to say, even though this kind of goes with my genes, but my looks. I've been fortunate to be a good-looking guy with good hair. It's good hair is something. You don't understand if you have it. I guess you guys that don't have it absolutely understand what I'm talking about. That's not a knock at you. Just, you know what I'm talking about.
Number 17. If you could have any profession in the world at all, and it would support you, what would that job be?
Well, I'm going to have to qualify this answer, because I would love to be a Supreme Court Justice. However, I would only want to be a Supreme Court Justice if I was replacing one of 5. That would be either Breyer, Souter, Ginsburg, Kennedy, or Judge Stevens. Now, if I had to replace Thomas, Roberts, Alito, or Scalia, I wouldn't want to be a Supreme Court Justice, because those guys are brilliant. I wouldn't want to take them off the bench. In that case, I would be a baseball player.
Number 18. If you could go back in time only once, where would you go and when?
I'd go back to Vienna around 1785, 1784, and I would love to meet Mozart and hang out with him. Just for 2 hours to sit down in a bar or at his house and have a bottle of wine or whatever kind of ale they were making over then at the time. That's where I'd go, and that's what I'd do.
Number 19. What's your favorite meal?
Pizza! Love pizza. Never get tired of it. Owned a pizzeria at one time, and I still love it. Worked at the pizzeria when I was in high school and college. I can't get enough of it. Love it.
And number 20. If you wanted to tell me something about yourself that not too many people know, what would that be?
That I don't smoke. And occasionally I'll put a cigarette in my mouth because it kind of makes me look like James Dean.